Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Assassin's Read Book Club. I hope you're all having a good January and a happy February. So, before we get started on the Assassin's Creed movie and its novelization, just a quick note that the next book is Assassin's Creed Last Descendants, Tomb of the Khan by Matthew J. Kirby. This is the second book in the Last Descendants series, and it's a sequel to the one that we read earlier. So, as always, we had, a giveaway for copies of the book. And so congratulations, as always, to the winners of the giveaway. Now, if you didn't win a copy of the book and you still want to pick one up, you can use the affiliate link in the video description. As always, affiliate links help fund future giveaways for the Assassin's Read Book Club. All right, let's dive right into this. So this month was kind of special because the main assignment was just to watch the movie, but you could also read the novelization as well because there were a little bit of some elaborations in there and also 4 additional short stories around the ancestors of the modern day assassins, which was really cool. So as for me, so getting into the full review of the movie, we'll start out with the things I liked. One of the things I liked the most about the movie was the Spanish assassins. I thought they were just so cool, right? Like, you can't deny, like, these action scenes are amazing, and I love the portrayal of the assassins. They're very strict, very old school. They talk often about giving their lives for the Brotherhood, or the Creed sometimes as they say it, but they're fearless, they're dedicated, they're completely badass, and they do it and they're badass in a way where they're not trying to be badass. It's just a natural result of how sleek and efficient they are at killing. It's just, I was really, really blown away. I wasn't really expecting much from, like, the historical sequences in terms of how the assassins would be depicted or anything. But, they also remove the ring finger. They're just very dedicated, very much kind of almost like a throwback to the Levantine assassins. I thought that was really, really cool. Other things I liked about the movie, I liked the new Animus. I thought the effects and everything around it were amazing. I liked the way when they started up, it looks like an old school, like almost MRI or X-ray machine. Like, it's a lot more medical, I think, than the regular Animus is. And people ask me a lot about the new Animus because it is a big departure to have this big arm, like, moving you around. But honestly, I am totally fine with it. I understand the reasons they did it, partly because they don't want Matrix comparisons if you're just lying in the chair, but also because it makes the modern day a little more exciting. And I totally agree with that, but I also love the fact that it helps explain the bleeding effect a little more, because if you really think about it, Desmond sitting down in that chair really shouldn't have done anything to give him abilities. Like, his muscles are just kind of atrophying as he's lying in that chair. But with this new Animus, it really stretches your muscles. It gives you the muscle memory. You're building muscle mass, like, as you go through these motions. I mean, you'll come out of it really sore, like Simon Hathaway in Heresy. But, like, I overall really enjoyed the new Animus. I think they did a really great job with that. More things that I loved about the movie. I thought all of the acting was pretty much top-notch, really well done. And in particular, I wanted to call out Sophia because I was a little bit concerned about how Marion Cotillard's acting was going to be for the part. Even though she's an Oscar-winning actress, sometimes I feel like she gets put in parts that don't speak to her strengths. And in the trailers, I couldn't really tell what, like, accent she was going for, and the acting seemed a little stiff. But in the end result, I actually really loved Sophia Ricken's character. It was really, I thought they did a really good job with it. And by the way, I'll always say Ricken and not Riken. So, all right, moving on. I loved the score of the movie. I'm a little disappointed they didn't weave any of Ezio's theme into it like they have been in the previous games. I'm kind of surprised that they actually didn't do that. But I hadn't heard anything from Jed Kurtzel before. He's the brother of the director, Justin Kurtzel, of course. I thought the score was really beautiful and really appropriate for the movie. I think it fit wonderfully. And there's moments like when you go into the second regression, which is, I think, the finest action sequence in the whole movie, where they're getting burned at the stake, and then they do the assassin running across the rooftops afterwards to a leap of faith. Like, that to me was just so awesome. And, like, when you go back into the regression and the music starts like kind of kicking up, I like with the strings, and it's like like I just really get goosebumps, and I'm so excited because it's like it's just, the assassins are just about to kick ass and it's going to be amazing. So overall, I really think, as kind of a broader thing that I liked, it felt like Assassin's Creed for the vast majority of the movie. And there's maybe one or two spots that we'll talk about later. But, I think there's a lot that this easily could have gone wrong. And they really made it feel, to me anyway, like it could fit in the universe of Assassin's Creed. And like they had a lot of attention to detail, and I really liked that and appreciated it. Going on to the novelization, things I liked about the novelization, I really liked how it expanded on certain aspects of the movie, or told us about aspects that weren't even shown. Some examples are Callum's relationship with his parents, as well as Aguilar's relationship. There's like a whole little kind of revengey subplot going on that we never really hear about. So it was great to hear about that. You learn a little bit more about Aguilar and Maria's relationship, which is only hinted at in the movie, but the book is very explicit about the fact that they were lovers and they had a very strong bond. And I think Callum and Sophia's bond as well is explored a little more. You find out that at least that Sophia kind of has a little bit of a crush on Callum, and she's developed feelings for him, and all this stuff that's kind of just hinted in the movie. And likewise for Callum, he kind of sees her as this beautiful angel. There's a lot more sense in the book that there's something in between them. So the book really kind of gave me a sense that the movie would have done really well with an extended cut, I think, and hopefully it would be able to develop these kind of relationships and things beneath the surface a little better. So the other thing the book had was, of course, the 4 extra regressions. So you get little short stories for Duncan Walpole, Yusuf, Baptiste, and Xiao Jun. I thought all 4 of these were really great. I don't know if I could really pick a favorite, but every single one of them were right in character with the characters that they were exploring. I thought they were really well done, and I enjoyed seeing more of these characters I love. So the novelization I felt was really great to read through. It added enough stuff that I felt like I got my money's worth out of it, All right, now moving on to the dislikes, with the caveat, as always, well, not as always, but in this case as well, that I did really enjoy the movie overall, but I also do have several things that I'm not crazy about with the movie. So we got to start off with the dislikes. Like, just flat out, the writing is by far, in my opinion, the weakest part of the movie. Like, the direction was spot on, the score was amazing, the actors gave it their all, I thought. It's really the writing where this movie kind of falls down a bit. And there's various things I could point to, but we could just start with, the modern day dialogue in particular. I felt was a little poor, in the sense that it's just like incredibly serious, and nobody talks like a human being. It almost feels like, you know what I mean? Like, they have all these conversations that lack kind of like a human element to them. And in particular, there's one scene when Callum and Sophia are kind of going through, the information they have on Cal and everything. And Callum kind of sees like the breadth of how much they've been tracking him and the pieces of Eden and everything. And he goes like, "Do you get out much?" Like, kind of jokingly. And she kind of smiles and says like, "More than you." And it's just such a really tiny moment, but it really sticks with me because it feels like one of the only actual like human moments that we get with these characters in the modern day, is like that kind of interaction. And I wish there were more of that. I wish there were more moments like that. It just didn't feel, some of it was just really weird. So another example of the problem I have with the writing is that I felt like there were a lot of scenes that it felt like they were supposed to have some kind of meaning for us, or I felt like, but I didn't get the meaning, or it felt like I was on the outside of an inside joke. So here's a big example, is after Callum kills Alan Rickon, he leaves behind an apple in his hand, right? Sophia comes up to him, sees the apple, and it kind of zooms in on the apple. And it feels like it's supposed to be like a really, like some kind of moment, right? Like it's referencing something. But I have absolutely no clue what the significance of him putting an apple in Alan Rickman's hand is. Like, it's just like, oh, ha ha, an apple. I get it, because it's called the Apple of Eden. Like, that's as far as it goes for me. And there's so many moments like this that I kept feeling like, did I miss something earlier in the movie? And then I finally just had to conclude, no, it's just shitty writing. Like, it's just bad writing. There's other moments, too. So, like, the way that Musa keeps calling Callum Pioneer. Pioneer, Pioneer, Pioneer. I just don't... Like, why is he calling him Pioneer? Like, it feels like it's supposed to have some significance, but I just don't understand. It's just this thing that we're supposed to accept. The way that Callum says repeatedly, I'm hungry, and he like tosses her the apple, and then he repeats like later, like, I'm hungry, and it's just like, he's not talking like a real human being, and there's no like significance to him saying that, even though it feels like there should be. And I just, like, moments like that just drive me nuts. Like, I just don't understand why they're there. I think you guys kind of get the idea on what I'm talking about with that. It was really like, moments like that just made me really question if I had missed something earlier in the movie, like there was some reference I wasn't supposed to get. So a lot of moments like that, and I'm sure I could come up with more if I spent a little more time on it. I thought the modern day assassins, unfortunately, were pretty weak. I felt pretty much nothing when Amir and Nathan died. They're not developed like at all, pretty much. And the one who gets the most screen time and kind of lines in the movie is Musa. And I feel like everything that comes out of Musa's mouth is like just this bizarre dialogue that's not really like endearing or interesting. He just doesn't speak like a normal person. And it kills me because I'm a huge fan of The Wire. And Michael K. Williams, who plays Musa, plays Omar on The Wire. And it's one of the best characters in one of the best TV shows ever. Like, it kills me how much Michael K. Williams is wasted in this movie. I feel like I almost get the impression, like, when I watch him act, like he's kind of like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing right here. Like, I'm just like sprouting lines about Baptiste. Like, that whole thing about Baptiste probably confused the hell out of every critic who watched it, or anybody who isn't familiar with AC3 Liberation, right? Like, and then everything else is just like, how now, Pioneer? Steak for the Pioneer. We recommend... like, it's an open menu, but we recommend chicken. Like, and he just says like all these crazy, ridiculous things. Like, it's not a real person. He is not a real character. It's so weird, and it's such a waste. It makes me so sad. Anywho, there were a couple other writing parts. I felt like character motivations flipped really quickly without enough explanation. So biggest two examples are Callum going from talking to his father, saying, I'm gonna lead them straight to the apple and watch them tear apart like everything about you, like destroy the creed, like everything that you hold dear to you. Like, he's so pissed off at his father. And like, then by the end of that last regression, he is suddenly being initiated into the Brotherhood by his mother, and we'll get to that. And he's like totally on board. Like, he's completely switched. He's gone completely from, I'm going to lead the Templars to the apple and watch them rip the assassins apart, to, I am an assassin. And I could not pinpoint where he changed his mind on that. It was only when I was reading the novelization that they spell it out. And it's actually when he's talking to his dad, and his dad talks about his mother dying for the creed, because, the Templars wanted her blood. And Callum says, she had no choice, but I do. And he puts the bracer down and everything. But it turns out, like, and I kind of just took that as like he was still pissed off at his dad. But according to the book, that is his moment of realization. He's like, oh, I get it. She had no choice. She was sacrificing everything for the creed, etc., etc. Like, that's his big revelation. This is one part where I'd say it's not just the writing, but also maybe a little bit the acting and directing. But they don't really sell that as his moment of realization. To me, it sounds like he's just like continuing on his thoughts before. I thought that was not handled very well at all. And then Sophia, of course, also at the end of the movie goes from, she's portrayed as being very conflicted, but she's very drawn to Callum and she has a strong connection. And then, like 5 minutes later, she's like, Lynch is for me. Like, I'm going to go hunt down Callum Lynch, like completely back on the other side of Templars. I thought that was just like a weird swing that didn't really, didn't feel earned. That's the biggest thing, is like didn't feel earned. As far as another aspect of the dialogue, I felt like there were some parts that were just dumbed down a lot. It felt like to me, they're like, at some point they come pretty close to just literally saying, we're going to kill free will, but the assassins love free will. And it's just like they dumb it down so much. And then there's all these weird parts where they talk about the creed, where usually you would talk about the assassin's brotherhood. And luckily they changed that one line from the trailer, but it still exists a lot of moments where it's like, your blood belongs to the creed. And like all these really weird phrasings that you wouldn't hear in a game and that we've never really heard before. And if you're going to make that big a deal of the creed, then you need to actually at least kind of explore it. I thought it would have been a really good moment if Callum's father had explained to him when they're talking, and Callum, has the gauntlet and everything. If his dad had explained to Callum the creed and like why it's worth fighting for, what it stands for. All these cool conversations that we get in the games that talk about, the nothing is true, everything is permitted maxim, like would have fit really well in this movie, especially if they're going to keep talking about the creed like the way they kind of awkwardly do in the dialogue. I was a little disappointed there wasn't a little more philosophical bent to the movie, and it's kind of just dumbed down to like, we're going to, like the whole free will stuff. Like, it's just really weird. I was not a fan of that. All right, so finally, just going to cover two moments that I didn't like because they are so far outside the bounds of like kind of the series. The first is Callum being able to spawn his ancestors after at the end of the last regression, and the way that they interact with him, and his mother actually initiates him into the Assassin's Brotherhood. That is just so far beyond the concept of the series. This is like the one moment where I feel like if this movie had gone really bad, like if it had been adapted without Ubisoft's input, we would have moments like that throughout the entire movie. And I'm really grateful it's actually just this one where it's like, wait a minute, that's not how it works, right? Like, you can kind of say, okay, it was Callum in the new Animus, and the new Animus like gives bleeding effect differently, but at the end of the day, it's all genetic memory. It's one of the core pieces of storytelling in this series is genetic memory, and you can't change what your ancestors did. There's no explanation for Callum to be able to project his ancestors in a way that they're like conscious beings who are talking to him, fighting with him, interacting with him. It makes absolutely no sense. And this is one of those things where you really like, I just cannot let go of, because it's such a huge contradiction to how genetic memory works. Like, fundamentally, this is something that just you cannot do in an Assassin's Creed universe. And so I was really, I don't know, it's a cool moment, but like it just does not fit. And also the book also brings up an interesting point where Sophia sees a tattooed version of herself among his ancestors. I didn't really see this in the movie, but I thought it was also another point where it's like, she thinks about it later on, and maybe it's for a sequel or something, but it just seems like that. How does that make sense? And what difference does it make? Like, it has no bearing on the plot whatsoever. So it must have been like a sequel thing to set up. I don't think they even show it in the movie. The other moment, the other thing that I just cannot get past is the apple itself. On a very base level, can anybody tell me exactly what the apple does in the Assassin's Creed movie? Because I don't know. I am so deep into this series, it's ridiculous that I cannot explain what the apple does in this movie. They just talk about the apple, containing the memory of man's first sin. They say it has the genetic code to kind of eliminate free will. It's the genetic code for free will, which makes it sound like it's almost like a book, right? Like you're going to open it up and see like which genes correspond to free will, and then the Templars could maybe do it. It's like, okay, it's a little different from the games. In the games, it does hallucinations and mind control, but you could kind of work something out from that. And then all of that goes out the window at the end of the movie because Alan Rickon holds up the apple in a room full of Templars it opens up and releases some green gas. And then that's like all we get out of the apple. What the hell does the green gas do? And, you know, you could say like, oh, maybe the green gas like gives him control over anybody who breathes it in. Then why would he use it in the Templar Hall, you know, like where it's full of Templars? Like that doesn't make sense. And like, it just, the green gas aspect just doesn't fit in with any of the other parts of it. And if it has some like useful things, then why didn't Aguilar use it on the bridge instead of doing his leap of faith at the very end? It drives me nuts. It's not even the same apple in the past and the present. In the past, it's like this bigger, like normal size apple that we would expect seeing in the series. And it's kind of got like this amber color and the light can play through it. And then they go to the modern day and it's suddenly shrunk to like half its size and it's made out of metal. Like, what the hell is up with that? How do you even have more than one of these props? Like, I don't like two different, like, did they just forget which prop to use? I don't understand, because it's supposed to be the exact same apple, and I don't care how long it was like underwater or whatever. It shouldn't turn from an amber regular size apple to a metal crab apple. I don't understand. Like, I just can't. I can't. I was hoping so this is one of the things I was really, really looking forward to reading about in the book, because I'm like, aha, they have to explain what's happening, like when he uses the apple. They just sidestep it completely. It's told from Sophia's point of view, and she doesn't even witness her father like using the apple. And so I just, like, it drives me absolutely nuts. Like, I don't even know what does the green gas do? It's ridiculous. Like, I feel like if anybody should know, it's like a super fan like me, right? And I can't even explain it. I don't even know what it is or what it's doing. It's just, what a waste, right? I was really looking forward to seeing Pieces of Eden on the big screen, but not happy about that part. All right, so that's pretty much it. You know, I know I got kind of negative in the other part. You might be wondering, as most of you know, I was invited by Ubisoft to attend the premiere of the movie in New York City. And when I got out of it, I was like really happy, and I tweeted out like, you know, I'd probably give it like an 8.5 out of 10. So you might be wondering like if I can square like the negatives I just had with the like 8.5 rating, if it still holds up. And I would say yes, like I'd still kind of give it an 8.5, but you have to know that the 8.5 was kind of weighted in a way where it's like, wow, this could have been so much worse. And overall, I really did enjoy the movie. I've seen it twice. I've read the novelization. It's something that I see myself rewatching in the future quite a bit. So despite those negatives, the positives outweigh them a lot. And it's like I said in the video I made right before it came out. It's not a perfect movie by any means, but I think everybody involved pretty much gave it their all. Nobody really half-assed their job. And I would love to see this team make a sequel to it. I think there's a lot of talent on board, and I think they can correct the mistakes they made from the first movie. Get a different writer too, hopefully. All right. So with that said, let me know in the comments what you guys think about any of the points I made, or any of your own points about the movie and or novelization, what you thought about it, what you liked, what you didn't like. If you have any explanations for the things I don't know about that makes sense, feel free to let me know. And I've always said for quite a while that we were going to tie the best comments to prizes in the future, or giveaways. And so we're going to start with that today. So what's going to happen is you leave your comment in the comment for the video, right? And then let me know if you want to be entered, if you want to be considered for an Assassin's Creed movie poster that I have. It's an official Assassin's Creed movie poster. I got it at E3 last year, E3 2016. It's the one of Aguilar jumping off the building, so he's upside down. So I'm going to be giving it away. I have way too much stuff already as it is, and I don't have anywhere to really put the poster, so I think it'd be great for one of you guys to have it. So when you leave your comments, just also say, like near the end or the beginning, like, please consider me for the poster, or something along those lines. Just let me know that you're interested in your comment being considered for the poster. And then what I'll do is I'll take like my favorite comment that also said they were interested in the poster, and that will be the winner for the poster. All right, so that's going to do it for this month. So don't forget to pick up your copy of Tomb of the Khan, Last Descendants in the video description through the affiliate link. and I will see you all again on March 1st. Okay. All right. Have a good month, you guys. See you later. Bye.